Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Robin Carter. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator out of Flower Mound, Texas, and today I am sharing another alternative with the June 2023 Paper Pumpkin Kit. If you missed my unboxing and first set of alternates, they are in my YouTube channel. Just click on videos and there will be a list of all of my channels. So before we get started, let me welcome those of you that have subscribed to my channel. Thank you so much for your support, and I hope this channel gives you some inspiration of how you can use your Stampin' Up! Products, as well as tips and tricks that I use along the way. If you are brand new to my channel, I would really appreciate if you would hit the subscribe button and let me know where your area is, state, city, whatever you want to share. I love reading all the comments, and thank you so much for joining me with this video. So before I get started, let's take care of some business. I put it all under here so I would not forget. Today only, Wednesday, July 21st, is a free shipping day through Stampin' Up! And so this is a great opportunity for Paper Pumpkin subscribers to pre-purchase, they're called prepaid subscriptions. So they come in 1, 3, 6, and 12 months. So here are the item numbers for each one. I don't know if you want to take a screenshot or jot one down if it interests you. And like I said, today only is free shipping. So normally the prepaids also include, you have to add a shipping and then of course your tax, which happens even with your individual ones that are shipped out. But today only with free shipping, my favorite one here is the 6 months. So you're going to get 6 paper pumpkin boxes, and they do not have to be in a sequence. Like if you put your code in for June or July, excuse me, it's too late for June. It doesn't have to be the next 6 months after July. You can still suspend as if there's a kit that you either won't have time to make or it's something that may not interest you. You can still skip those. And as you can see, the cost comes out to $21.17 a month plus your tax. The normal price, I believe, is $23.50 plus tax, since that's a 1 month. So you get quite a bit of savings. Now, if it's in your budget, 12-month is also even more discounted. But I like to go with the 6 months because about 6 months from now, you probably could do a prepaid during celebration. So whichever of those may interest you, you may want to jot that down. And I have a current host code that's going to go through July 17th. It's right here. So if you do not have a demonstrator, I would appreciate your support if you would use this host code with your order. Now, if you purchase the 6 month at $127, if you just added $23 more, you would be at $150. And at $150, you do not have to use this host code, because then you would earn your own Stampin' Rewards starting at 10%. So, and again, any order of $50 or more placed through me will receive a special thank you gift. So consider that in your for your subscriptions. Now, also going on is the starter kit promotion. So if you have ever thought, I think I like enough to join, maybe start my own business, or just be a hobby demonstrator for your own supplies, they have a new starter kit promotion that's good until the end of June. So normally you get $125 for $99, and that includes free shipping. But through the end of June, they're offering $30 more of free product. So there is no commitment to do videos, demonstrate, hold parties, or whatever. This is just for you, and you would be active for the next 3 months. So I believe July, August, September. So consider that if you've ever thought about joining, and if I would love for you to join my team, and then you get all my PDFs and things like that I make. So, all right, so one more thing. Some people have asked me, and I forgot to share last time. Here's last month's sleeve. So I make these sleeves, and I give one to each of my Paper Pumpkin subscribers as a perk that I give. Now, this was not the spot that came in this month's kit, but you also get a 1-inch square of coordinating cardstock. That way you can store your ink upside down, your spots, and the ink will always be fresh on top. And so we write in the name of the spot and our initials, because when I have my local customers here to create all these, my table gets full of stuff and people would lose theirs. But anyway, so this would be a special gift from me as a Paper Pumpkin subscriber. You would get this sleeve so you can store your stamp sets. Okay, so now back to my alternate. Let me clear this out of the way. Now, also, I was asked to join the Paper Pumpkin Possibilities blog hop last month. So I will have another alternate that I'm going to post only through that Possibilities blog hop, and that happens next Wednesday. I believe that's the 28th at 8 p.m. Central Time. So be sure and check my blog. I'll have a post to it below, and if you're not subscribed to it, consider subscribing to that, because then you will get an email of whenever I update a blog post. All right, so now the first one is not really an alternate, but I'm going to show you what I did to expand my kit. And these little envelopes are one of my favorite things that something that Stampin' Up doesn't offer, and it's what I store my card components in. So I will link those below in the description box, but you can also go to my blog and check out my favorite things post there. So I have already pre-stamped a vase, and if you didn't see in my unboxing, while I was waiting for my kit, I went ahead and die cut lots of flowers, lots of leaves, and well, not those, and lots of the vases, so that I would be ready to go when my kit came. My kit came extra early. I was a little bit surprised. Now, in your kit, you will have 4 of these. So the intention is to make 3, but we got a bonus. And so here's what I did with mine. Now, where did I put the instructions? So the instructions, let's see if it's bigger in here. So they used the vase in the kit, and I thought it was a little small for all those flowers. So I went ahead and put on one of the stamped vases. This image is part of the stamp set that we receive. So I just thought the other one was a little small. All right, now here, if you also have the DSP or have remaining card bases left and you want to do your own, here is one that I made on my own using the coordinating products. Now, the coordinating products for this kit, if you don't already know, hate to be repetitive, but this may be the first one you've watched, is on page. This is the Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog for this year. And it's on page 62 and 63. So the Countryside and Sweet collection coordinates perfectly with this kit. And as you can see in the designer series paper, this paper right here is also a design that we got in card bases. So the Sweet, you would just use this one number, 161474, and you would receive the bundle at the savings of 10%, the DSP, and the embossing folder. So that is the coordinating products that I've also used to make my alternates, as well as the coordinating cardstock. I always do that as well. So as you can see, I stamped this one. I did a Misty Moonlight vase there, and I used the flowers that were in this month's kit. So you can also expand this. Let me give you a tip on your strips. So you wouldn't know it, but I have cut my coral strip apart to make my own flag. So you just do them about an inch or so, and then when it's glued behind here, no one knows you didn't use the whole strip. All right, so we're going to make this alternate just like I have over here. Is it still in screen? Yes, barely, but it's there. Okay, so I started with a thick white card base, and this time I'm going to mat this with Misty Moonlight just to step it up one more step. And then I had to cheat. I have misplaced a card base. So I just grabbed my DSP to do this. And you want to cut part of your base to 4 inches. Make sure, okay, 5 1/4 tall by 4 inches wide. So from your card bases, you can easily get 2 of these. Okay, and then I cut out, let me tell you which one I cut out. So here are the dies that coordinate. I believe it's this one. Yes, so then I cut out the center because no one would know that you use the center. Now I didn't go with the next bigger size because I was afraid it would show underneath since I put that on dimensional. So I used the smaller one. And save this because we will use this in our next card. So if you're watching this on the replay and want to craft along with me, feel free to pause and get your stuff cut and all of that. But I do some pre-cutting to help. Okay, so I have a piece of Misty Moonlight that's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 that I've already adhered to my thicker white card base. Now it looks like I may need to trim just a hair off the side. It doesn't quite look equal, so I'm going to hope my blade is sharp and trim just a hair more so it looks more equal. That's my score blade. And always in cutting, if your paper is down at this end, you want to cut in this direction. If you put your paper up here, you want to push your trimmer up. That way your card is pressed against these solid surfaces and you don't risk the chance of it slipping. Like if I tried to cut here and I pushed up, you might accidentally slip your paper if you're not holding it tight sideways. All right, let's hope that's enough. I like for things to look equal, and it does. I have a little bit of shredding. When you do just a hair, you risk getting little frays. So I'm just going to take my snips and trim that off. Okay, now let's check it out. Much better. All right, put these over here. So I'm going to get my Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue that I have in a fine tip glue bottle. And as I said, I had to cheat and use DSP because I've misplaced one of my card bases. Thank goodness I misplaced the one that I have the same pattern for in the DSP. Now I believe Monday, if there's any refills available, I believe on Monday you can check the online store and see if there are refills. So the refills are everything except the ink spot and the stamp set, but there's still some gorgeous stuff you can use to make these cards. Just have to get creative when making your vase, or there are the vases that are in vases, not bases, that are included in the kit. Okay, so there we have our card set up. Now I've already trimmed this one. So what I would do is I would take one and use it just to cut your bottoms. That way you don't have that. And here's how you're going to center it. So I have grid paper, but you also know on your instructions they include a ruler at the bottom here of your cardstock. So if you're maybe you took this somewhere to else to work on this kit and you don't have a ruler, there it is. But I take my grid sheet and I can set it in the center here with 0, and then, well, this will be the bottom one. Hope you can still see. So there's 2 little 1/4 inches and it hangs over just a little bit. So I'm going to adhere that right there in the center. Now I'm using the Tombow multi-purpose glue instead of the tear and tape that they gave us. All right, so I'm just going to adhere that down. And that way I know it's centered in my card. And then I'm going to take this, get my trimmer out one more time. I should have done this earlier. And I'm going to trim this, get it down where you can see it. And it's always good to set your trimmer on a flat surface. So let me move this stuff over a little bit. Okay, I'm going to say about 1¼ inches. I don't want to go with 1 inch, just in case, or 1 1/8 maybe, just to give it a little bit of extra room so no one knows you cheated. All right, so you have plenty of coral left for your other cards. All right, so I'm going to line this back up again in the center. Get my Tombow multi-purpose glue. And you know what? I need to make sure I get the right size going from where I trimmed it. It may be a square. All right, so then I'm going to line that up there. And I can see my 2 little hash marks and just a little over. So that way those are in the same spot. Okay, and now we have our pre-printed flowers. So like I said, we have 4 of these, so you can actually make 4 of these cards right here. Now I wanted a different sentiment. Let's see, let me find my vase that I scooted out of the way. Like I said, I used this vase. Let me go ahead and show you the vase that was intended in my box of goodies. Somewhere in here. Okay. So the vase they intended us to use was this one. And like I said, I just thought it was a little small. Let me show you. For this card. So here is the vase that we can get the add-on dies for, or that's included in the stamp set. And here's the vase that was included with the kit that they intended. And I just thought that vase was too small for all those flowers. So I decided to go in with one of the stamped ones and save that for, I think I used it in my alternates, on my first set of alternates. All right, so I'm going to adhere this. I think they recommend using their dimensional strips, but I don't want 2 layers of dimensionals because I'm going to put this whole thing on dimensionals on the card. And so if you're mailing it, 2 layers might be a little too thick for your postage, normal postage. Although I tend to just go ahead and buy 2-ounce stamps or the non-machinable rate stamps, and that way I'm safe on all my cards. All right, so I wanted a sentiment here, and I wasn't in need of any of the sentiments that came in the stamp set. So I pulled in one of my favorite greetings. It's the go-to greetings. Now, as a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, this would be a great add-on, especially today if you're doing the prepaid subscription. The price of this may get you to the $150. Let me look it up real quick, just so. Go-to greetings is on page 97. So it's right here. So it's 24 plus. I bet you're $1 short. No, you're perfect. That'd be 150. No. Yes, you're $1 over. So if you did the 6-month subscription and this go-to greetings, you would be at 151, which would qualify you for 10% back in hostess rewards. So it's one of my favorites, and it's happened just on the other page. If you prefer this one, it's also a favorite, and it goes with the bow punch that I used in my first set of alternatives, and it's the same price. So either one of those with some great greetings to expand your kits would be a great add-on purchase today with free shipping. Now the free shipping, I didn't mention this, it's with $75 and over. So your total would have to be at least $75. Now I've used my Stampin' Up jig for this. I didn't care to line that up in my stamp positioner, and I did just a note here. Let me get a thinking of you, because thinking of you can be for anything. Thinking of you on your birthday, thinking of you with your loss, thinking of you just because, all that good stuff. So I already have it on a block. Now this set is a cling stamp. Now the cling clings really well. So what this little strip helps me do is get it off my block, because I tend to leave mine on for a long time to use, and I just moved it, so I'm going to have to redo this with you, which is fine. It helps you learn. So this is an imaging sheet that would come with a Stampin' Up jig. I think I've remade one because I misplaced mine. All right, so you have a imaging sheet. This is just a thick piece of plastic. I don't remember what from. All right, so you have your stamp, and I'm going to use Night of Navy on this. This is my full-size pad. We did get a spot of that in our kit. So you want to ink it up, and then put your block in the corner of this and stamp down. Okay, and that shows you where it's going to stamp. So then I can line this up where I want it on my sheet. Now the good thing is, if you miss or get it crooked, you could put a label over the top, but we're going to hope for the best. All right, and so when I set it down gently, now red rubber, you don't want to like press really, really hard. You just want to set it down. Let the ink absorb a second. And there we go. Now I do know it takes a while on this paper, the paper pumpkin, for it to dry. So you don't want to touch it yet. I can still see it's wet. So I'm going to set it up there. Give it a second to dry. Okay, put up my water bottle. So this is a Stampin' Up jig. I linked to it at Amazon, but last time I looked, they didn't have any. So you can probably find it in other stores as well. I know Stampin' Up years and years ago used to have one, and I wish they would bring it back, especially now that they had to take off their Stamparatus. All right, so our card base is ready, and like I said, this is Misty Moonlight. All right, I'm going to do dimensionals rather than the strips, because I want to save those strips for if I make my own and want to add them on dimensionals or on the strips myself. So I'm going to use the large dimensionals, and I'm going to cut them in half. I find that half is enough. Okay, and I'm going to be generous with the halves. So I generally do top and bottom and center to support it. And we'll put 3 in the center so it stays, gives it support there. Okay. Make sure they're adhered well and take off my backings. Oh, I forgot to mention, so I broke this fingernail this morning. Broke it back pretty far. It kind of hurt, so that's why that one is so stumpy. I'm fortunate to have nice, strong, natural nails, so I don't paint them because I'm so rough on them that they end up chipping and I'd have to fix it every day. So I'm going to do the same thing here. Line up my card in the center so that before I set it down, I can kind of eyeball left and right if it's straight. Now, another thing I have, I'm just going to set half of it down, is a T ruler. It helps too, so you can put this on your card. Once you get it to about where you want it, you can see if you're setting it down straight. If it were there, I can push it against it. I can see that that is straight. Probably could have brought that down a little bit more like I did this one. I figured I guess since I added the extra layer, it is gone. Now here are the dimensionals, and my guess is if you make it like it is, you're not going to have a lot. So I was digging through my embellishments and I found this old set of the Stampin' Up! Basic jewels, and they look like they'd kind of turned gold. And I said, well, Stampin' Blends to the rescue. So with these blends, you can easily color pearls or rhinestones. So I just use the stumpy end and color them like that. I'm going to use the ones that I know are dry. I'm going to take your pick tool, and so I'm going to try to do the same thing, although I'm going to put the big one down here. This one here, and this one here. Now, speaking of embellishments, let me show you a new thing I did. This isn't all of them, but if you're like me, you know, you get the ones that are 3 in a pack, and then you're digging through your embellishments wondering which one. So I just cut them all apart, and I put them in the 3x5 little envelopes. They have different sizes. These are 3x5, and I'll include those in the description below. That way I have kind of pinks, greens, blues, reds, I have yellows, and all of that. So that is a better way for me when I need embellishments. I see I have some here I could have used, that I can grab them easily rather than flip through what I have. And I lost a rhinestone. Let me put him back on top there. Okay, so I hope that gives you some ideas of how you can expand your kit. And like I said, this one I did an additional one on my own, although you do have an extra one, so you could do that as well. So that is my first alternative. Let me put all these goodies back in its envelope, and we'll get on to using that extra piece that we set aside. So what I've shown in the previous one and this one would use one card base. Plus you need to add some cardstock. So that's how I do it. All right, here is the second one, where we're going to use that leftover piece. Now it was so tiny, I was like, ooh, how am I going to use that? So that's funny, it's the exact same pattern. All right, so here I did use the embossing folder for on a white background. So this is the Countryside Coordinating Embossing folder. Hope you can see that. I put my card base in my other one. Again, a thick white card base. All right, and then we're going to have this. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to the card front. So notice there are directions for the flowers. So when you're adhering this to your card, try to pay attention to the direction of your flowers. I do kind of hate that the main flower is right in the center, and that always ends up getting covered up, but that's okay. The other parts are just as pretty. All right, and I'm sure y'all know I use a medicine bottle to hold my glue upside down so the glue stays at the bottom. I just put some trinkets in there to weigh it down. Okay, so I've used the Tombow so I can kind of scoot it around, and then I give it a gentle press just to make sure there's no lumps and bumps in my glue. Okay, so then I took the Countryside folders and I cut one bigger than the one I cut this with so I could mat that piece. So it looked a little bigger on my card. So I'm going to adhere that, and when I do that, I generally put the adhesive right along the blue side so that I make sure I get the glue where I want it. That may be a little outside, but okay. And then I can move it around, make sure I have it in the center, best I can see. Okay, now I made my own vase, much like I did the first ones, the first set of alternates. I brought in one of my favorite bundles from the kit, oops, excuse me, called the Timeless Arrangements. And so it includes all these little flowers, many sentiments, and of course coordinating dies that have some nice labels with them as well. So as you can see, some of these, I didn't use it for this time, so they're attached so that if you have a label, you know what, I could go back and add some there. You could easily adhere your leaves just with that strip right there rather than having to fussy each one in. That is a good idea. I may do that. I'll do that later. I'm going to make this one just like this. So here's what I do. I've already pre-stamped and colored one. This is a die in the Timeless Arrangements. And I did color them with my Stampin' Blend. You could use your watercolor pencils or a blender pen with ink. Put your ink spot. Okay, so I did two like this and one with the coral. So then you just want to line them up where you want them in your vase. I'm not a flower designer, so I just did what I thought looked good. So those three look good there. I'm going to go ahead and put a dimensional on top of that to hold those in place. And then this little bitty flower and stem, I'm going to put some liquid glue on this teeny tiny stem. So if you've watched my other videos, you know I have a scan and cut, but no way could I get this detail of a flower using that thing. It would be very difficult. I guess I could, but it would be, one, hard to get off the mat. So there is my bouquet of flowers. And then I have my sentiment. Now I cut, you probably saw, the center out of that one for my sentiment to save on cardstock. Got a little flag over here that I'm going to lose. I know that Velcro sound is probably loud with my mic. All right, so let me get out I'm going to use my Stamparatus. I know it's been discontinued. It still makes me sad. There are other stamp positioners, although this one is my favorite. You could easily just stamp this and then die cut it. So let me show you what I did. So let me remove this plate. Okay, so this is the coordinating countryside stamp, and it's all one big stamp. So the first thing I did was I inked it up in black and stamped it. And then I cut out the frame so that I could put in each one that I wanted. And so this one, I wanted the teeny tiny one. So I just, again, I lined that up. I put that in the hole. And then I'm going to use my boho blue spot that I made. I probably made a spot. And just ink up the center. And it'll ink up other spots, but so this way you're not having to stamp a whole big thing all the time. You could easily just ink that up and stamp that much and then go die cut it, but I wanted to do it like that so that I could have them available. Let me get so I keep a damp paper towel because especially this week it is like 100 plus heat index, so the air is going and my chamois dry out faster. So my chamois I cut in half again, and then I just lay damp paper towels over the top so that they don't dry out as much. I would close the lid, but then I'm afraid I'd forget, and then it would get stinky mildew all the time. So here I now have lots of labels to use, and I'm going to use the Thinking of You again, just because it's all-purpose for everything. And then I have to find my imaging sheet. Here it is. So, well, I have multiples. You get my, this is called a Stampin' Majig. This one's old. I've had it probably 20 years. Okay, so I'm going to center that where I want it. I hope you can see that. I'm going to place this here. Now, the downfall of this one is this Stampin' Majig doesn't hold my paper in place. So it just has to be really careful when I move that I don't move my paper there. And I'm going to use Night of Navy again. I like a dark sentiment. All right, gentle tap of ink. And then a gentle set down. Again, do not mash your cling stamps. You just want to let it touch. And there you go. It's not all smudgy or anything. If you stamp too hard, it can really kind of smudge it and expand it and stuff like that. All right, so we need to put this in the corner. So I just kind of lay out my things like I like them. And then I start adhering. It was a good thing the card base I misplaced. We had the coordinating paper. I'm going to put this one like that one. Again, watch the direction of your flowers. So just in the corner. And then I got to finish putting dimensionals on my vase. I want those on dimensionals. All right, I'm going to put one more over my flower there to make sure he's just secure. All right, and that one's secure now. It's all dry. Take off my backings. Again, you could use the strips that they provided and even just cut them smaller if you wanted more around. All right, one vase. And then I first started out with this, but I thought it needed a little more layering. I love layering. And so I'm going to put that on there. You could actually do the stitching from the stamp around that, but I decided I wanted the focus to be on that, which you could have done the stitching around. Excuse me, that sneeze came out of nowhere. Around that as well. Okay, so I just adhered that to that, and then I'm going to put this on with dimensionals as well. If you've seen my videos, you know I use dimensionals on just about every card, so I think it adds a whole lot of depth and interest by just raising it up. Well, that and embossing folders. It's hard for me to leave a solid blank background. I like for them to be textured. Okay, one more dimensional backing. And on we go. I want it to show that corner. I don't know why. And this one I put some coral embellishments that I have, but I think this time I'm going to use maybe what they gave us. So I like to use my Take Your Pick tool on this. And do I want them in the same spot? I guess so. All right, hopefully you stuck around. You know what? I'm going to move that to, hopefully, the center of that flower. There we go. And I'm just going to put another one down here. I'll put it on one of the dots. Okay, I like to do the embellishments like in a triangle pattern. It's pleasing to the eye. Okay, so again, this is from 1/2 of a card base. Here's the first one. Okay, we cut out the center and used it here. So I think I've used one whole, no, I've of course doubled mine, so I've had to use 2. And I may not be missing one. Maybe I used it, but I'm pretty sure I did use DSP, and my other one is somewhere. It will probably show up sometime. So here is my alternate for today. Again, don't miss the free shipping that is today only for 24 hours. It's a great time, like I said at the beginning, to get your Paper Pumpkin prepaid subscription for however many months you desire. And everything is free shipping. So if you need to get some additional cardstock, adhesive, whatever, it's all free shipping today only for $75 and more total merchandise. So like I said, next week I will be sharing on the Paper Pumpkin Possibilities and alternate, and I'm using the Coral Calypso Coral card base for it. And I will be out of town the next week or so, so I may pre-record my Paper Pumpkin Possibilities one on video before I go out of town if I have time. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoy this kit. I think it's beautiful. So many possibilities, especially with the coordinating products. And I love having this vase to add to my collection for my timeless arrangements, little flowers. I think it's a perfect size. So have a great day, everyone. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Leave your comments below. I do love to read them all, and I try to reply to them all. So until my next video, enjoy your crafting.